Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids of the Week video. I thought I would mix this in while I'm continuing with your current suggestions, so I'll go back to those suggestions soon. But the reason why I wanted to mix this one in is because it perfectly ties into the recently released Godzilla King of the Monsters film. If you haven't had a chance to see that sequel, I do recommend seeing it before it leaves theaters, and in fact I'll include my two links below associated with my reviews. So I talked about the good stuff and the bad stuff because the film did have some issues. But yes, when you see this video, you'll see why I tied it into that film. But go see it before it goes out of theaters, by the way, because it is going to be out there soon. But yes, this is a creature that's been encountered apparently only once out there in this world, but still it made a favorable or memorable impression. And who knows, maybe one day someone else might see it soon. It has to do with this. It's known as the Allier River Monster. So let's go ahead and let's talk about all the fascinating but brief info associated with this creature. So what is this Allier River Monster? Well, again, it's only been encountered once. Specifically, you have to go back to about 1933 or 1934. And during that time period, somewhere out there in south central France, that's where this creature was found. More on that, though, here in a minute. As far as its physical characteristics, it has to do with this. And you'll see why exactly I tie it into the Godzilla King of the Monsters film. Doesn't it look like King Ghidorah right off the bat? Here you have a three-headed dragon-like creature, and it instantly just parallels the biggest villain of all in the Godzilla film. Now, this particular monster is not considered as large as King Ghidorah. If you've seen the film, then you know that King Ghidorah absolutely just outsizes Godzilla. It towers over him, in fact, at certain points. So not quite that large, but when I hear the words as far as this creature, its physical characteristics being described as being monstrous, then you know that this thing is large. Easily larger than an average animal, probably larger than some of the largest animals out there too, but not that big, otherwise there would have been more sightings of this. But that's how it's been described. It's monstrous looking, it's gigantic in other words, and it has a black color associated with its skin or its scales, whatever it is. It's also been described as being a Cerberus-like beast. So if you don't know what Cerberus is like that three-headed mythological dog, that hound of Hades that is considered very, very savage. Like this is a creature that in the mythology that you would not want it to have messed with. Its whole role was to ensure that the dead did not leave hell. And so the only way to do it is to be ferocious, to be as savage as can be, to ensure that no one escaped. Such is the case here. So when you're dealing with the Allier River Monster, and it's been described as being Cerberus-like, then you know exactly you're dealing with something that you don't want to come across. This is a creature that no doubt would be just absolutely frightening to see, let alone have any kind of interaction with it because of how savage it's been considered. And then, of course, the most standoutish thing associated with it has to do with its three heads, three separate heads, three separate dragon-like heads that make up its body, most of its body. It has that long neck, it has those legs as well, but still these three heads completely make up the most of the individual characteristic of this creature. So whatever this three-headed beast is, who knows if each one of those heads are separate from each other. The Godzilla film made it seem that way, that King Ghidorah, each of its own heads had its own personality. Such could be the case here with regards to this Allier River Monster. So maybe you're dealing with three monsters in one, rather than just one monster altogether. Unfortunately, it's only had that one single appearance. No one knows exactly who encountered this creature. No one knows like what occurred during that encounter. Only the characteristics I just mentioned. So whether this creature is a fish or whether it's considered more of a mammal or maybe even reptilian, who knows? There just hasn't been that much analysis or eyewitnesses to try to determine this thing. Where it was found, though, and I was talking about this earlier, is in south central France. There's an area that's known as the Allier River, and then it's part of another river known as the Loire, Loir. I don't know how to say that, but hope that's correct. But that's where this creature apparently has its home. Whether it lives within the river itself or just happened to be encountered there, maybe drinking water and then I don't know, flying away or scurrying somewhere else. Again, that's difficult to tell. It would be not too much of a far stretch, though, to imagine, considering how mysterious it's remained and how little people have seen of it, that it probably lives within the sea itself. Like it somehow came out of that river at that very point, right when there was that eyewitness. But otherwise, it would be, in my opinion, more on the lines of an amphibian creature, something that would absolutely just dwell so much of its life there within the ocean or some type of river or some other type of sea water. So it makes sense because so much of this earth is made up of water and so much of it is still undiscovered. Obviously, it's been mapped out, but nothing as far as people actually going into those places. So something like this making itself a home somewhere out there in the bodies of water, it would make certain sense. If anyone else has any more ideas, then please let me know on that part. Unfortunately, though, that's all the info that's associated with this creature. I told y'all earlier it was a little bit brief on that regard. Just one encounter and then just very few physical characteristics of it. But even then, this is not something that you would want to necessarily try to hunt or come across on a purposeful manner, maybe by accident, but nothing else that you would want to endanger yourself in terms of your life out there. But if anybody has anything else I might have missed, please post those comments below. Maybe there's another encounter of this creature or some variation of it. I was reading about another creature out there that apparently is in Switzerland that could be related to this creature. I think it's known as the Allier River Monster, something along those lines. And if it is truly out there, then who knows? Maybe it's a cousin of some sort. And if it is, then maybe that would help explain more information associated with this creature. But again, if anybody has anything else I might have missed, then please post those comments as always. So, all right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.